Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the University of Florida College of Journalism and Communications. My name is Randy Wright. I'm the Executive Director of the Media Properties here at the college, and on behalf of the Dean and everyone with the College of Journalism, we welcome you to Studio 2, next door to the all-new FPREN Storm Center, which we're excited to give you a look at here in just a couple of minutes. The FPREN project is something that we're celebrating with our colleagues at the other 12 Florida public broadcasting radio stations throughout the state of Florida. This is a project that came into being, at least from a public radio standpoint, in terms of the Storm Center operations about 2 years ago. And so for the past 2 years, working with our colleagues around the state and with the Department of Emergency Management and Bryan Koon and his staff, we're very proud to welcome you here today and to show you something that we really feel is pretty extraordinary. There's certainly nothing else like this anywhere in the country. We think it's a great partnership that utilizes technology, it utilizes content generation capabilities, one of our specialties here at the College of Journalism and Communications and WUFT-FM, but also what you find in each one of the public radio stations that serve the state of Florida. So from Miami to Jacksonville to Pensacola, those public radio stations that serve those markets are committed to providing the best, the highest quality local content. So the FPREN project, in providing breaking emergency information, whether it be hurricane, tropical storm, or other natural disaster information to the public on free over-the-air radio, is the perfect fit for public radio in partnership with the state of Florida. So if you'll help me and welcome Diane McFarland, the Dean of the College. She has a few words, and then we'll move ahead. Diane?
Thank you. You know, every organization has milestone events in its history, and this is going to be one of ours. This is really a significant day for us and a very significant project. I want to thank Craig Fugate and Bryan Koon for coming, honoring us today by being present for this. And Randy talked about why this is important to us, and I just want to elaborate on it. I think that what makes it significant for me is that it builds on our public service mission. Actually lives that out in a way that is truly extraordinary. It builds on our technical acumen, and I think Randy's going to mention the folks in this room who were directly involved with this project, put a lot of work into it, and have capabilities that really are exceedingly rare for colleges of journalism and communications, and we're very proud of that. And the third thing that is most significant to me is the partnership aspect. There are many partnerships. Of course, the obvious one is the partnership with the state and with the other public broadcast stations in this state. But by the same token, we have a partnership with our UF communications folks in Tigert, partnerships across this college. Many of you are involved with that, and I think we're going to watch these partnerships grow, which will make this even more significant to the state as well as to the University of Florida. So congratulations to all of you who had something to do with this. It is a major accomplishment, and I'm very proud and grateful. Thank you, Randy.
You know, the words collaboration and partnership have continued to come about not only today, but throughout the last 2 years as we've talked about FPREN. And there are a lot of people in this room who need to be recognized for their hard work in making this happen. This really is an extraordinary technological achievement to put something like this together and for it to be redundant so that even during the worst of circumstances, we can continue to provide this content to millions of Floridians and to the millions of visitors that we have in our state each and every year. So there are some folks that I would like to quickly recognize. If you'll raise your hand so you can be recognized, that'd be great. First of all, our colleagues from the Public Broadcasting Service, FPBS. I know that Janeth Ryder is here. Janeth in the back, I believe. Thank you, Janeth, for all your help with this. All the other public broadcasting general managers, news directors, engineers from throughout the state of Florida, please raise your hand and be recognized. Here we are. Thank you. From a technology standpoint, FLR has played a pivotal role in this, and David and Chris are here from FLR. I think they're in the back over there. Thank you guys very much. And from the University of Florida, from CNS, Sheard, John, Mary, and Jesse. I don't know where you are. I can't quite see you. Does anybody see them? Hopefully they don't have a breaking something that they're having to deal with right now. But CNS played a huge role in this. And I don't know if Jonathan from Broadcasters General Store is here today or not, but he was very, very helpful. Finally, within our operation here at the college, we have a group that's called TAG. It's the TAG team, the Technology Advancement Group. And these are our engineers and our IT people and facilities people. And so if you're on the TAG team, including Brad and Neil and Rob and I think Bob and a bunch of others that I happen to see, please raise your hand and be recognized, guys. Thank you. Reed and Jeremy Clark from Media Services. There's Reed back there. So Reed, thank you. Jeremy too. When you walk into the FPREN Storm Center, you're going to see a lot of artwork around, and that's Jeremy's great work. And finally, the voices that many of you hear on the FPREN content that's delivered to 13 radio stations covering the whole state, Jeff Huffman and Maritza Calderon, our meteorologists. Jeff and Maritza. The partnership that we have with the Department of Emergency Management, the state of Florida, has been a cornerstone of the FPREN project, and it's really one of the main reasons that this has been and continues to be a success, and a success story not only here in Florida, but throughout the entire country. And Bryan Koon is with us today. We'd like to say thank you to Bryan, but we're also anxious to hear a few words from him. So please welcome Bryan Koon.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for having me here today. This is my third visit here in the last few months, and I've seen some tremendous advancement just over those last few months. I'm very excited for today's grand opening of the FPREN. I'm looking forward to today when we can utilize it, but not too much. This is great technology. I hope by the time we get around to using it, we say this is a little bit dated. Perhaps it's time to upgrade. But the need for emergency management, for our elected officials and others to communicate clear, consistent, accurate information to Floridians and to our guests during times of disaster is utmost. And this is going to be an outstanding tool to help us make sure that we're able to deliver that, so that we have residents and we have guests all the way from Key West to Pensacola to make sure that they're getting that same information as they travel through the state, depending on the situation we're dealing with, and to know that they can just shift from one station to the next and be able to pick up exactly where they left off. That's fantastic. And I'm really excited that this capability exists in the state of Florida. I'm looking forward to talking to my colleagues across the rest of the country and helping them understand the capabilities we have now in the state of Florida, so that they can start to emulate it as well. Florida has always been the leader in emergency management and dealing with natural disasters, and this is yet another example of how we continue to do that. So to everybody who was involved with this, thank you very much, and I'm very pleased to have this asset for the state of Florida.
As I mentioned, the FPREN project by itself is about 2 years in the making. But the partnership that public radio has had with emergency management in the state and with FEMA has been long-standing. And it's a very interesting story, and Craig was sharing the story just a bit earlier about how this partnership really came together. And so I hope you don't mind if you'll share that story. So if you would, please welcome from FEMA, the Administrator, Craig Fugate.
Well, the first thing is, I grew up in the shadow of the university. So that meant as a kid growing up and later on, I've heard just about every format change you can have on your commercial stations. I remember when you went from your AM rock to your FM rock and now where it is today. And as you've grown and changed and served the public, you've also been on the cutting edge of technology. Most people don't realize this, but this is about teaching future leaders in journalism, not only to how to deal with media, but also the technologies behind it. This university has been first in many areas in applying new technology to the broadcast industries. And so this is, to me, just another elevation of the university, looking at not just a traditional way of getting information out, but looking at, again, how do you build these networks? But there was a reason that this really became a need back in the 90s. We dealt with a hurricane. It was called Hurricane Floyd. Hurricane Floyd never made landfall in Florida, but because it was approaching so close to the East Coast, it produced one of the largest evacuations in Florida's history. Over 2 million people evacuated from their local communities, oftentimes not sure where they were going and not knowing what was going on once they left their homes. Because we'd always told people to tune to your local station for emergency information. But when you've been on the road for several hours, traffic's moving at 5 miles an hour, the sky's getting dark, and you don't know where that hurricane is, and you don't know how far it is to get somewhere safe. It demonstrated to us that we need to do a better job of how do you communicate with people once they've got on the road. Public radio became the answer. If you've noticed, if you ever driven around, you ever see the evacuation signs on the interstates and highways? Do you always notice what's at the base of that? It's a radio station, right? Every one of them is a public radio station. Florida Public Radio Networks got together and said, we'll be that voice when people evacuate to give them updated information about what's going on, but more importantly, about where they're going, where hotels and motels are, where there's shelter, where there may be fuel, so that they wouldn't be cut off from that information. And in today's world, you may think, well, that's kind of nice. That's kind of like ancient history. We all have phones now. We stream our media. We stream our music. Radio's kind of an outdated thing. Until you deal with congestion, until you deal with spot coverage, until you deal with the fact that oftentimes the only signal that can get through in a disaster is a radio signal. And with all of your technology, once the internet is jammed or goes out, how do you get that important information about what you need to take care of yourself and your family? And it's going to be radio. So this idea of coordinating now and adding even more content to the ability to get the word out to the public, both before, during, and after disaster, is really, to me, the evolution of how do we continue to build upon the expertise and capabilities that our public radio stations have to ensure that Bryan and his team, as well as local officials, can get the word out to the public in the time of a crisis. That phone works really good until it doesn't have a signal or rings busy. But that radio may save your life. This is why broadcast will always be part of our emergency preparedness, and why this evolution is just one more step, and again ensuring that if there's a crisis, people can get the best information from the trusted sources in an authoritarian manner, when they need it, how they need it, and a way they can get it. That's why we still tell people, make sure you got a battery-operated radio, make sure you still have the ability to get that information. It can save your life. Thank you.
Thank you both, and again, we appreciate your support for being here today, helping us honor everyone who has made FPREN a reality. And on behalf of the University of Florida, on behalf of the UF College of Journalism and Communications, WUFT-FM, and our 12 colleague partner public radio stations throughout the state of Florida, this is a very exciting day. And I think that you've heard from our fine guests here the real reason why. This is about saving lives, this is about serving the public, and this is about public radio continuing the legacy of doing just that. So, as soon as we cut the ribbon here in just a moment, you'll be able to go in and look at the FPREN Storm Center.
Excuse me.
Oh.
We have not given credit to one individual who deserves a great deal of credit, and that's Randy Wright. He was the prevailing leadership behind this project.
You're too nice.
No, it's true.
You're too nice.
He worked with other stakeholders in Tallahassee to get the funding for this project, and then made sure that we did what we needed to do on this end. So congratulations,
Thank
Randy.
you. Thank you. Far too nice. All right. So when we cut the ribbon, you'll have a chance to go in. We have several stations set up, and Jeff and Maritza will be in the Storm Center, and they'll be able to show you exactly how FPREN operates and how we produce this content. It's kind of a theme here in the College of Journalism and Communications, content production, that lives on all platforms. So while our core service method is through free over-the-air public radio, we also provide this same valuable content via web, mobile platforms, social media, that is all included within the FPREN project. So let's make our way over here and we'll cut the ribbon. As soon as we do that, then please join us in the FPREN Storm Center and we'll be happy to celebrate together, okay?